There are two schools of thought when it comes to white collar crime. There is strain theory, or more specifically, GST, or general strain theory, which states that negative stimuli and the way they react to it is known as strain. And the strain is the reason behind all crime. Everything from a lowly street mugging to corporate espionage and embezzlement. And while flawed, this theory does have some merit. Speaking abstractly, you could see your coworker and get a brand new Ferrari, and the corporate world is highly competitive. So you start thinking to yourself, I work just as hard as him. Why don't I have a new Ferrari? So you start cutting a little off the top, skimming here and there, and suddenly you got a brand new Ferrari, and look at you, you're top dog in the firm. You committed a little embezzlement here and there, but hey, you did what you needed to do to fix this negative stimuli. To put things in a less abstract way, the space race that's going on right now between Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, while not illegal in its base terms, it is immoral as they have been known to cut corners on safety to have this flashy showmanship of exorbitant wealth. They are reacting to the strain of each other's wealth, towering back and forth. And this is, in essence, strain theory, even in a non criminal aspect. However, it is flawed because it can't fully be tested, and it is an extremely general form of theory. Now, there's also something called critical theory or conflict theory. Now, conflict theory states that the rich and powerful control society, and not only do they control society, but they have bent and shaped it to fit their interest and their interest alone. Now, this is absolutely true. We can look at it in terms of campaign finance laws allowing for legalized bribery, but not quite the point here. White collar crime, however, though, absolutely is another example of how the rich have exploited us because they absolutely can. And as conflict theory shows, they have set up the system so that they can. Most white collar crime will never be investigated. There will be no punishments because there's no even investigation or knowledge of it happening. Over half of organizations have conducted an investigation of their absolute worst incident of white collar crime. Their absolute worst has only gotten an investigation by just over half. And of those half, less than a third of those reported to their board. This is from the 2020 Global Economic Crime and Fraud Survey. Now, to expand on that for a moment, just think. That means 44% of all organizations don't even investigate their worst incidents. And the 56 that do aren't exactly investigating smaller things than what they consider to be their absolute worst, so most of it will just go unnoticed. But what about the stuff that does get noticed? Well, then you have to hope it gets reported to somebody, and usually it's barely the board. And the board cannot have any criminal prosecution. In regards to criminal prosecution, a half of organizations decline to ever refer these cases to the law enforcement because they're sitting there thinking, we can probably just handle these things on our own. Move the guy out of his position, maybe even fire him. But firing him does nothing in regards to justice for the millions lost by consumers and regular folks like you and me. It is this gross negligence of duty to report that leads to people being hurt every day by white collar crime. The facts about cases being referred to law enforcement actually comes from the 2020 Global Study on Occupational Fraud and Abuse. Now, all of this is terrible and a travesty, but just like conflict theory suggests, that is the point. It's meant to work this way. To quote Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, this is not a bug in the system, it is a feature. Thank you.